are two guys, one cup.
Everyone relax. It is Monday, the 16th of March. Welcome to Two Guys, One Cup, an AFL adjacent podcast. I am Charlie Clausen, and we don't often have guest hosts on this show, but when we do, I like to pick someone who barracks for the team that humiliated my team in front of 44,000 people at the MCG. Rana Hussain, welcome to Two Guys, One Cup. I did message you in the lead up to this recording saying, geez, if the Dees beat the Saints, this may turn into a counselling session, and here we are.
Yeah, look, I haven't helped matters, but also I feel like you've got one up on me now because of the lead up to this pod where I just lost all dignity, in just not being able to connect or do anything techie at all. So I feel like the scales have been slightly balanced, but it was always going to be either me or you that was happy this morning.
Yeah, so you're saying I
And
get the moral victory because of your technical ineptitude? Is that what you're saying?
yep,
Oh,
that's
great.
what I'm giving you in lieu of 4 points.
Oh, well, let's start at the MCG. I mean, it's the two teams that we have a vested interest in. And look, I have to say, like, I always forget every football season, as a Saints fan especially, you go in with so much hope and you get so stressed out in the first couple of weeks. But then you always forget that the season goes for so long. And every year there's a story about a team, whether it was the Brisbane Lions last year or the Swans a couple of years before that, who lose the first 5 games and then get their shit together. But it's just amazing. Like, I sort of jotted down, I was like, it's amazing how this has nothing to do with my life at all. Like, sport is
Yeah.
like, it has no actual relevance to my day-to-day life. But every year I invest the same amount of energy into it and I woke up this morning feeling so anxious. And I was just doing a quick sort of like mental check of what's going on. Is it my daughter at school? Is it work? Is it this kind of stuff? And it's like, no, it's the fucking Saints. They lost.
Yeah.
And I've woken up feeling terrible. And now like there's this kind of dark cloud hanging over me. And it's like, I just want to be able to, I want to ascend to a higher mental state where I can just separate these things, where I can enjoy the wins, but let go of the losses. But it doesn't work like that, does it?
No, Charlie, we're towards the end of Ramadan, which is, as a Muslim, like the most spiritual time of the year. You're doing a lot of introspection. You sort of meant to be in your spiritual cave. And yet, I spent Sunday afternoon yelling at the TV. Like, you're meant to find your higher self.
Yeah.
And yet I couldn't because the footy was on. And so I absolutely feel you. I also found myself, like, I've noticed this thing in me where I don't keep grudges, but I have a couple.
Yeah.
And when my nemesis's team wins, God, I'm shitty about it. Like, I'm now also living my life through other people's football teams as well. And
Yeah.
if their team does well, I'm just like, no, I don't want their team to, I don't want them to have that either.
So when you see your nemesis, is this like a real life nemesis, an enemy who they barrack for a certain side, and so your dislike of that person has coloured your view of that team?
Yes.
Yes, I get that 100%.
Like, yeah, that's actually now how I view the world. And I hate this about myself. It is an ugly side, but here we are.
Well, here we are. And look, I think objectively, if you take our parochial, one-eyedness out of it, it was objectively like a fun game to watch, like lots of lead changes, fairly high scoring. But Max Gawn, like, what an incredible play he is. As frustrated, you were doing Ramadan. I was on a family Zoom. Like, my family, I've got a big Catholic family, and we try and get together at least once a month on Zoom to catch up.
Aww.
And I had the TV on mute while I had my iPad up so I could do the Zoom call. And my eyes kept darting to the screen. And my sister called me out and she was like, no, that's not fair. She's like, I'm watching this on delay. I've paused it. I can see your expression in your face. But it was mainly just like my awe of Max Gawn as, everyone sort of talked about coming into this season with the rule changes to the center. I was going to say center bounce. Got to get used to that. The what do you call it? The toss up, the
yeah,
the launching of the ball in
throw
the middle.
up? That doesn't sound good.
But then he's just like, he kind of reminds me of, I don't know, like an old Western. You got the old gunslinger who, like just one more
Mm,
mission but it was just through sheer kind of grit and like his aerobic capacity to just sort of keep running.
mm,
And like Tom de Koning is this young, blonde, athletic guy, but by the end of it, he looks so puffed. So here I
yeah.
was on my family call, but my eyes are just getting wider and wider, just watching Max Gawn in the same way that sort of Nazaya was the story of the
Yeah.
last time these two teams played. It was all about Gawny yesterday.
I thought so. I mean, the commentators kept saying that he smashed him physically, but also mentally. I found that really fascinating because TDK did look mentally stricken. Like he
Mm.
looked distraught, but I didn't understand what that means. As someone who's never actually played football, and I still am yet to I have tasked Darcy Vesio to teach me, um, and they have promised that they will tackle me one day just so I can experience a tackle. Because I feel like
I mean,
that's a
hopefully
rite
that's
of
not
passage.
like one of those bucket list things where you're like in your 80s and some like
Oh, I keep
local
putting it
footballer
off.
breaks you in half.
They keep saying to me, "When are we meeting up at the park? Like, you said you wanted to be tackled." I'm terrified because it's one thing to be tackled, but it's one thing to know you're going to be tackled and drive halfway across town to then be tackled by an elite footballer.
Well, maybe that's the
Um,
thing, Rana. Like that's the problem is you're setting an appointment to be tackled. What you should
mm,
say to her is just tackle me when I least expect it. Like you could be at Woolies
yes.
or coming out of a movie or something, and suddenly Darcy Vesio just comes and just drives you into the wall.
I think that's probably right because that's what happens, right? It's when you, or you might half expect it. It's when you're on a run with the ball
Yeah.
that you get tackled. I think I'm going to have to tell them that, because I'm doing it all wrong clearly. But so I don't know anything about actually playing the game. So
Mm.
what does it mean to be mentally outdone by another player? Like, was Max Gorn bringing up his past trauma or something? Like, what? What were
I
they
think it
doing?
was
Like, how do
just.
you do
I
that?
think it's just more. It's that the metaphor that I always like in sport is when they say, "Oh, he took him out to deep water," or she took her out to deep water. Where I think that's the mental
MMAC.
breakdown is just running as hard as he did and saying like, "Yeah, look, you think you can maintain this? Well, this is what it takes to be a seven-time. What is he? Seven-time, eight-time All
Yeah.
Australian." Like, what was that? Remember, there's a few years ago, he had a hot mic and he got penalised by the umpire in a ruck contest. And what did he say? That's ruckcraft, big boy. Like it's that kind
Yes.
of just that arrogance, and you're in my
Yeah,
world
right.
now. I mean, I think maybe that, but who knows? Like, I'm fascinated to know. I talked to Will about this last year. It's like I love the hot mic stuff when they mic up
Mm,
players, but the players know they're mic'd up. I want to know what happens when they don't know that they're mic'd
yeah,
up. And Will's like, well,
I
you probably
know.
wouldn't be able to broadcast it. But I was like, no, you see them because a lot of these guys and girls, they seem to know each other, right? They've played junior
Yeah.
footy, they socialize together. So I think there would be some fairly interesting
Oh my
gogglebox
god.
style conversations happening on the field.
I would love that. They'll never tell us, will they? Unless it's
No.
someone just sneaks a mic there. I I feel like Max Gawn, what he was able to do, and I loved hearing from him after the game that he actually was unsure, like going up against
Mm,
a young fella who's being paid quite a bit of money. What is the standard? And I guess, yeah, it's their first hit out. I loved that he was like, oh, phew, okay, I've still got it. Which, as someone who's just turned 40 as well, like, I felt like he was representing, not that he's 40 yet, but I feel like he was representing, the older ones among us that no, you can still do it. But then we had like all these young players as well on
yeah.
both sides, actually, like absolutely kind of show us what they've got. And I felt like as a D supporter, not to be too earnest, but we finally looked fun. Like we just looked
Yeah.
like we were trying stuff, that they were having fun, they were giving things a go. And that's all
Yeah.
I've wanted from them for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Latrell of it all. It's the Van Rooyen actually, playing with some like another big body in the forward line, all that kind of stuff. I just wish it had happened to another side, like
But you
seeing
know
Jack
what's
Steele. Jack, I mean,
Oh,
as much as I hate to admit it, like Jack still does look very, very good in that kind of royal blue and red kit. Like it does suit him. He looks even more
mm,
handsome, but he's such a good guy. And even hearing him talk after the match, because he was sort of not being prompted to sort of say anything bad about the Saints, but it was implicit in the
yeah.
question. You know, you're playing against your old side, and he still sort of stood by the fact that the Saints treated him well, and he's got a lot of friends there. And I just sort of looked at him. It's a bit like he's the boyfriend that you cheated on because something more
Oh.
glamorous came along, and you're like, oh, I'll never find anyone as dependable as him. Like Jack McRae, come on! Like if we had two Jacks to choose from, and I think we kept the wrong one.
Oh, mate, listen, I know you talked about it last week, but we had to watch our boyfriend Christian Petrarca
Oh yeah,
thrive with his new girlfriend, and it is killing us. Like, that's,
and she
I
is
feel
hot.
you. She is hot, and he's hotter. Like, he's
Yeah.
flourishing now, and
Well,
we've
that's
just
what
got to go,
happens after
yeah.
a breakup, though. You lose a few pounds, you get your hair done. Like you got to look
Yes.
your best. So that's
But we
that's where I
always
think we find
knew.
ourselves.
Yes, and we always knew he was too good for us, and we held on to him, and then we were like, "All right, go live your life." And he is, and he's happy, and we have to live with that. So I feel like this win, I I was thinking about this, like, who needed the win more?
Oh, I had the
And
same thought. Yeah.
I mean, I cannot be objective about it, so we needed it more.
Well, I think
Um,
I think in a lot of ways you did, like because Broden, when we did the preseason preview, he was talking about like, look, whatever happens this season happens, but at least we've done something. Like we
mm,
shifted out some dead wood, we
yeah,
got the new coach in, and because otherwise it's been 3 years of Demons fans sort of feeling like they're in the twilight zone of just the same thing, the same game plan, the
yeah.
same results, and so for better or worse, and who knows? Like it's round one. Let me just remind you,
No, I wanna end the
like,
season now. That was good.
yeah. But I mean, I think that Melbourne's youth are good, like Langford and Lindsay, and you do have,
Van
I mean,
Rooyen, yeah.
Cozzy was relatively quiet yesterday. It wasn't like a dominant performance, so that you got that to look forward to. What did you think of? And it's weird, like there has not been a explanation yet. The Naz on the bench for six kicks a
Yeah.
goal and then benched for 6 minutes, and then Ross's non-answer in the press conference, like
Yeah.
it was like he did not hear the question. But if you were going to thread the needle, he was like, "Well, He said Naz has the keys, like he's got the license to go wherever he wants."
Yeah.
But then does that suggest that it was Naz deciding to stay off? I mean, he was on the phone for an awfully long time. So I don't know. Was he like?
Yeah.
It was just a weird decision.
It was a weird decision. By the way, like, that game, it was like it could have easily won that too. So I don't
Yes.
know, like, as much as we're taking it, it's kinda like I don't think it's a bad game from St Kilda by any stretch. Um, but I found Ross's response so bizarre, but he's always bizarre, and I'd love
Mm.
to know your thoughts on him. But it did sound like he was saying, "Well, I don't tell this kid what to do," which I remember Damien Hardwick saying about Dustin Martin, but that's Dustin Martin when he was at his peak. Like, I don't
Mm.
think Naz is there and is still very young. Um, I get it though, in a way that you also don't want to build your side around this one player, even though that is what's happening.
Yeah.
And what else can you do? But yeah, I honestly don't know what was happening there outside of maybe I mean, the one piece that felt true was he said that Saints had the momentum at that point of the game, so maybe he thought, "All right, I'm gonna give this kid a rest. The rest of the boys have got this covered, and then we're gonna storm home." So
I
maybe.
don't know what in the preceding 3.5 quarters gave him the idea that we've got this. Like, apart from Max Hall, I mean, the vibe I've got from Saints fans, like it's all doom and gloom. There's a lot of very understandably after all the hype in the preseason and like the two practice matches we played, we looked slick. But all the
Mm,
skills seem to have gone out the window. All the confidence has been shot within 2 games because we cannot seem to hold a mark in the forward 50 and are very dysfunctional. But Ross's response, and I haven't seen this before with Saints fans, they're pissing the fan base off. Like people just wanted
mm,
him to come out and say, you know what? We got it wrong at selection. or, we didn't make a move. We didn't move someone onto Van Rooyen fast enough. He speaks in those riddles, or he avoids, or he deflects. I don't mind it so much because I kind of I trust that there is a plan and that they are seeing something within the metrics that make them okay with that kind of loss. But
Mm,
I guess coaching is one part. Sure, you are looking after the team, but you're also communicating to your fan base.
yeah.
And I think on that level, they're failing really badly because I don't think you can go into the season with all that hype and, we're on the way up and we want to be taken seriously and then gaslight the fans after a game and say, "Oh no, that was actually good." It's like it wasn't. Like we have got a forward
Yeah.
line that can't hold a mark. We're missing basic targets. Our best users of the football are like Brad Hill are turning it over regularly. So I think, look, we are a fan base that will put up with a lot, clearly, you know, but we're also not idiots. We just don't want to
Mm,
be lied to. We just want some accountability. And I think, look, all this will change if we can win one or two,
yeah.
in the next 3 or 4 weeks. But it's just, this is what I mean about the emotion of it. Like, it shouldn't affect us this much, but it does.
But it does. I feel like 0-2 is not a good place to be, especially because of the hype. Like it's the hype
Mm,
that kills you.
yeah.
And we've
It's
been
not the
there.
hope, it's the hype.
It's not the hype, it's the hype.
It's the hope and the hype
It-
that kills you.
exactly. And I think that's not a good place to be. Melbourne have been there many, many times.
Mm.
I don't love Russ Lyon. I don't love Russ Lyon. That was the sentence. Um, but I don't love that he was like, well, we weren't expected to be like a top 8 side this year. So, like, what do you want from us? He kind of said that in the press. And I was like, I don't think that that's what anyone wants to hear, even opposition. Like, don't do that. Just be real.
Mm.
And I am generally sick of coaches just the deflecting, like the political answers. I honestly just want the truth from them, and I think as punters, we'd be okay with it. It's probably the media beat up that would come after it that would really suck for them. But actually, I think we'd be fine if they just went, yeah, this is what went wrong. Here's what we're okay. This is what we're going to look at.
Yeah. I mean, I think someone like Craig McRae, Chris Scott, Dimmer, they're all really good at that, of sort of being honest but standing up for their club and their players. Like I think it's different when you're winning games, clearly, but I
Mm,
feel like there is a unnecessary defensiveness or lack of respect for the media, and it's all bad. Like it's just not a good way to. You say you want to be a big club and you say you want these marquee matches and stuff, then you've got to play the game a bit better than that.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, there's not. I've got one more thing written down, which is just Saints fans
Go for
can't
it.
get their hopes up,
No,
which
you
is
can't.
which is such a sad way to finish this section of the show. But it's true. Like my Saints chat was melting down yesterday, and I just sort of said, look, in some ways, I do kind of agree with what Ross is saying. It's like we are a mid-table team that has brought in 4 experienced players on big money because we have to. It's the St Kilda tax.
Mm,
It's not a magic bullet. Naz, very exciting, but he's just one player. And we still
yeah.
really haven't figured out how to deploy him properly. So I think if we took away the hype, if it had just been a normal preseason, then maybe, the response wouldn't be as vitriolic, but it's the hope and the hype that kills you. That's the name of this episode. Let's move on to a
It,
team we can hype up because I think everyone's happy about this, which is North Melbourne.
mm,
It was it round 2 last year where they beat the Demons and everyone was like, hey, look, here come North. And then they didn't win another game for 6
yeah.
matches or so. Let's hope it's different. It felt different. It just, there's something about the way they played. I know Port are questionable this year, but there's something
Mm.
about that energy of their young forwards, like the Curtises and McKerches and stuff. There's something about North that feels a bit different. Am I reading into that too much?
No, I don't think so. And that's certainly been the chatter amongst the media. Might I quote
You
afl.com.au's
may. Permission granted.
I don't know why. It
It's very
suddenly felt
formal. I
like I
like
was
it.
it was very formal. I need to give you the honor that you deserve, Charlie.
Thank
Um,
you.
their tagline for North, or the headline for the article, was North's tease time is over.
Mm.
And I I feel like that's right. I also felt like that was gross. But I think but I
Oh,
think
you
it's
said
right.
North edge closer to giving their fans satisfaction? Is that sort of
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, no more
yeah.
edging. We're going for it now. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, thank you for that image. I do feel like it was do or die for Alistair Clarkson, and that guy, I feel like, back to the wall,
Yeah.
he's always going to come out swinging. And so I don't know. There was a part of me that was like, yeah, that's actually. I don't think I expected that scoreline. That was
No.
horrific, but good for them. They finally get to enjoy the men's season instead of just living it up during the AFLW.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Like you talk about change, just a minor change, but sort of Simpkin trying to get out of the
Mm.
club and then losing the captaincy and then going to a very popular player in Larky. I was very sort of concerned about the Kangaroos coming into the season just because that back line still looks a bit vulnerable. But maybe it's a Bulldogs kind of philosophy. It's like, well, if we just score enough, then that can cover the fact that we don't really have a recognised back line.
I should look at who they've got next, but that, like, I'm really excited now to see them play a really good side, or even the kind of mid-tier side, and see
Yeah.
what that actually
Yeah.
does look like. Because, yeah, great for them. Definitely doesn't feel like, I mean, if nothing else, even if it was a blip, the confidence that that gives you day one will now, I reckon, just send them off into the next couple of rounds with a lot more belief. And that's half the battle, right?
Yeah.
I've worked in AFL clubs, and it is genuinely true, like, even from
Oh,
an administration point of view.
they got
Um,
West Coast next week, so brilliant.
oh,
I mean, in Perth, but still, they should win that.
oh,
And
still.
then,
I mean,
and
that's
then they've got the
thank you,
Dons
AFL.
after that. So that should, I mean, that could be, they could be three zip, by the end of round three.
Yeah, and then we all need to keep our chill because
And then Carlton
yeah.
after that. So I'm pretty hearing it first. North
Yeah,
Melbourne going
okay.
4-0 to start the season.
Premiership. Playing finals. Okay. No, like yeah, believing that you can do it is half the battle. And that is very true. Like, that just permeates. It's true in life, right? I
Mm.
mean, you have to have that kind of momentum first and feel like you can, especially coming from where they have been. Um, I do like that Simpkins not that issue's gone for them now. I hope Alistair Clarkson keeps his cool and actually shows us some kind of new age side of himself. I feel like that's what's being called for
Mm.
here. I saw the look that you just gave.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, I don't know if that exists, that'll happen, but I just hope that,
No.
like, because it was so romantic when he came back to the club. I really loved that press conference he gave when they announced him as the coach, and he talked a lot about, the club taking a chance on him as a 17-year-old and what that meant. And there's a lot of romance around it. And then obviously, for various reasons, it was a very rocky start to the relationship. I've never really felt like he's had a good settled shot at it. And even if it's just a handover, even if there's this, I don't know if they have a coach in the wings that they're looking at, but I'd like him just
Mm,
to have just one season where it's, I don't know, like 10 wins or something like that. They don't have to make finals or even make the top 10, but just something to
mm.
justify that romance that I fell in love because it's all about me, Rana.
I'd get it. I'm the same, except I don't. Oh God, this is awful. This is a
Mm.
really ugly side of me. But there are some coaches I really just want to see fail. They're
Okay,
in
good.
my
Shit
and
list.
he's on my shit list. I think it was when he punched a wall, and I was like,
Oh,
nah,
yeah.
I think I'm done with you. I don't like this. Um, and he's one of them. Yeah,
I mean,
I
if
won't
that
go
was your
through the
red
list.
line, considering some of the allegations against Alistair Clarkson,
I mean, that was true. That was the beginning, and then the
yeah,
rest unfolded. And I was like, yeah, look, I was right. He punches
yeah.
walls. He does all this other shit. He's gone.
So, just looking at Port, do you reckon Zach Butters was on the phone to his manager after that game saying, start fielding those offers?
Man, that guy. he's such a good player. Like, he's
Mm.
such a good player. And he's the
Terrible to
opposite.
see him
He's
running
in
around for
my,
Hawthorn next year, won't it?
oh no, yeah, please don't put that in. Don't manifest that, Charlie. I don't want that. But he's such a good player. He's the opposite. Like, I really want him to succeed and I want to see him have a great career. And that, I don't know what that's like. Again, maybe Petrarca has felt this. So many other players have. You know what you can do, you know what you can show, and you're just not with a side or an organization that can help you do that. And that actually
Mm.
must be very heartbreaking.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Like, because on one hand, there's elements of our game that are so romantic, like the father son and all that kind of stuff, which I love. But the game is getting more and more professional and more mercenary in terms of like players just needing to look after themselves, their life after football. So even that talk around sort of Dacos to Tassie, and it seems
Mm,
almost inconceivable that a Dacos could leave Collingwood, but it felt
yeah,
inconceivable that an Ablett could leave Geelong or that a Silvani could leave Carlton. And it's just the world we live in. So Zach Butters really there is no emotional connector point to Port Adelaide, apart from the fact that they took a chance on him. But Ken Hinkley's not there anymore, so that father figure, if there was any kind of familial style
yeah,
connection, that's gone. Um, and it might be a win-win for Port because they could get like 3 first-round draft picks. I mean, at least you'd think for him, and some money off their books. So, and they're in a rebuild. So maybe this is like, it's a bit of a
yeah,
Melbourne situation, like, yeah, you'd love to have Petrarca, but he wasn't playing like that for you guys. So you might as well cash in. It makes me sort of think that maybe we should have got rid of Rowan Marshall when Geelong were offering a first round
mm,
pick for him. I'm like, oh God, like if this doesn't work out, then we've sort of missed our chance.
yeah. I honestly think if you love someone, set them free. Like, that is genuine. I think it's the same rules apply in footy. Never
You
tear us
also
apart
told
can
me you
only
have a
get.
shit list and you hate teams based on people you know. So I find it very
I
hard. Like
know.
you're an enigma, Rana.
Look, I'm a brown Muslim woman who goes for Melbourne for starters. So
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
complete enigma. I just like to keep you guessing.
You do. You do.
Never tear us apart is only going to get you so far
Yeah.
in a relationship. That's just what happens. At some point, I really think that though, like, in all seriousness, if players aren't happy, they're just not going to perform. Like, that's the bottom line. And so you're just better off going, all right, if this isn't working, it is genuinely relationship rules. One of us isn't happy, like, we've got to cut each other loose and try to find something better.
Yeah. I'll tell you who's cutting loose. How's that for a segue? Is the Bulldogs.
Nice. That was very good.
My goodness. I have declared, like most AFL fans, my love of Marcus Bontempelli, and I
Oh,
believe that no
yeah,
matter what happens this season, he should be given a Brownlow, regardless if he's the best player in the comp or not. Just for almost
yeah,
like sometimes in the Oscars, someone will win an Oscar. And it's not really for the performance in the film that they won the Oscar for. It's more of an acknowledgement that,
yeah,
hey, your body of work over your career means that we're giving you this now. And I
yeah.
think Bont deserves that because I just cannot think of a player who is more enjoyable to watch, and he was so good. But
Oh,
then you look at that list, and I'm like, holy shit, is Kane Corns right? Like, I honestly thought Kane saying that the Dogs had the best list and should win the flag was just him trolling Luke Beveridge,
mm,
because I think Beveridge to Kane is like some coaches are to you, clearly. Like, does not like him, and this thing of setting the Bulldogs up for failure. But just to see Norton and Darcy and Richards and who's the other one, the little mini Bont, Fraser running
mm,
around, and it's like, this is such a good team. I mean, team of midfielders for sure, but like even their 208 centimeter player plays like a midfielder. Like
oh
that
my
pass that
God.
Sam Darcy did,
Yeah.
just frightening.
Oh my God. That kick, I think I audibly, like, whoa. Like,
Yeah, it was a
it's
war.
just,
Totally.
yeah.
It was hot.
Um, it was. I, this, okay. I know Kane Corns probably knows more about football than I do, but I will say last year, at the start of last year, I texted the CEO of the Western Bulldogs and said, I think this is your year. Now, I was wrong, but I don't think I was far off. And I feel like I was just maybe a year ahead for them. This
Yeah.
side is ridiculous and also just very fun to watch. I think it is, I agree, like it's Russell Crowe winning for Gladiator. This is Bontempelli. I mean, it's either Bontempelli or Dacos, right? Like,
Yeah.
forget everybody else, touch wood and neither of them get hurt. Um, I like wanted to sit down and watch this game because I knew it was going to be good. It didn't end up being good in terms of like a great contest or just the dogs were too good, but that in itself was so fun to watch. They're not even my team. I mean, everyone's second team, but like it was great football, and the way they moved the ball, the way they used both the corridor and the outside, like it just was stunning, and I cannot actually wait to see. I hope we haven't hyped them up too much because if this, like, I just want to see this continue week after week because actually, to me, this is what football should look like.
Well, next Friday becomes match of the round because they're taking on the Crows in Adelaide. And the
Mm.
Crows, who I wrote off at the start because I'm an idiot, looked
Yeah, same.
a fantastic. Look, undermanned Collingwood, clearly. But, geez, even with players missing, they're a good solid team and sort of different to the doggies in a way. Like they're not as explosive or as free flowing as the doggies, but they've just got that incredible forward line that are just so reliable. Like it's they bounce off halfback, they get it in there, and then you've just got these kind of like giants, and even like Darcy Fogarty playing like a good game. Like that he's kind of their barometer, right? Like because he's their whipping boy. When he has a bad game, everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, he's slow. He can't do anything." But then, like if you're getting the ball in there like that, you just need a big guy to just take a few grabs.
Yeah. Oh, we should say you say undermanned Collingwood. I think GWS were as well. So there
Yes.
was that. But still a, convincing win from the doggies. I do, yeah, like I think Adelaide now, like are they the smoky? I didn't anticipate that at all. I also didn't expect a Collingwood slide. Not that they are necessarily. But I think they have serious concerns, obviously, in their forward line.
Yeah.
Which feels weird for Collingwood. Like you'd think they'd be on top of that. They clearly see themselves in the premiership window, but yet they don't really have any forward line
Because
targets.
they have a lot of the same type of sort of mid-sized forwards, the sort of Membry types, and then your
Mm.
smalls. But they need like Ben King. I imagine that they are just cracking open the vault down at the Lexus Centre to offer Ben King whatever he wants. And it's interesting. Like, what's that old cliche about the longer a game goes on, big guys don't get any smaller? Like it is so true.
Mm.
I mean, it's our major problem at the moment is we can't get Max King on the park, and our forward line would look so different if we just had a big tall person. Like
Yeah,
football's not
yeah.
complicated, is it? Just kick to the tallest person on the field and let the smaller guys run around his feet if he can't mark it. And that's
Yeah.
clearly what the Pies are looking for because they don't want for a lot else. Their backline's really good. Midfield's still really solid, and they have, arguably or inarguably the best player in the game. I just love watching Nick Dacos.
Ugh.
It's just every week I come on, I'm like, he does stuff that I've never seen before. Like he's just
I
his
know.
vision and his awareness and his game smarts are just next level.
And he just the one thing that always baffles me, and I like often miss it because I have ADHD and I struggle to watch football sometimes, like pay attention because the ball moves so quickly and I'm just get distracted. But
You're too busy writing
just
your shit list.
yeah, yeah. Oh, God, I'm really gonna have to work on my brand after this. It's really not how I built myself up publicly. It's what he does in small spaces, like how he
Yeah.
dodges and like that to me, as someone who really, knocks over everything when I get up off the couch, it's like it's just like watching an alien do something spectacular. Um, but he's also just like he's there's no scandal around him. Like I mean, speaking of which, not that this is that scandalous, but Scott Pendlebury finally,
Oh,
getting
that
pinned
dog.
for something.
That sniping
That
dog, Scott
poorly
Pendlebury.
behaved. Finally, we see the truth come out.
Yeah. I mean,
I
he's
was like,
he's
oh,
likely to get off, right? Like I heard that discussion yesterday on the radio about when Charlie Cameron got off a couple of years ago off the good bloke defense, like the impeccable record, the good bloke defense. And
yeah,
like just hearing them sort of float that, I'm like, Jesus, Aussie rules is such a weird game, isn't it? Like we change the rules so often. We have rules that are literally up to interpretation, like deliberate. And
yeah,
now we have like our a tribunal is so like in a court of law, that would be the most kangaroo court thing that you let someone off because they'd never done anything before and they seem like a
yes.
good guy.
Oh, I will never forget Basher Hooley in that 2017 year where everything felt like it was on the line, bringing in the Prime Minister to speak on his behalf. Maybe didn't bring him in physically, but certainly wrote a letter, like was one of his
Yeah.
character witnesses, and Waleed Ali. Like, what? It's a game of
It's
football.
so
And
funny.
you're getting the Prime Minister to say he's a really good bloke, don't ping him. That's dumb. What are we
It's so
doing?
great. It's so great. I think the country's priorities are clearly sorted. What did you think of Freo against the Cats? Just did so much right, and
Mm,
then did the most Freo thing possible, and just
mm,
found a way to lose it. And I
yeah.
mean, I always say like Freo are like the St Kilda of the West. It's just they just find ways to disappoint their fans again and again. But I love their
I
list. Like I just look at that team and go, gee, it's hard to really find a flaw. And they played like that for 3.5 quarters, and then they just left the
yeah.
door ajar enough for the cat. And the Cats are an amazing, different side at home, and just one of the most professional units with the best coach going around. So it's not like entirely unexpected, but it's just more the familiarity of flaky Freo. It's like
Yeah.
I often think that maybe football, like the culture of a club, is bullshit. How could it possibly be that a club has a DNA? When you've got new players, new board members, new admin. But it's true, right? Like it's strange.
Yeah.
Clubs have identities that seem to stick, and flaky Freo is one of those.
Yeah. And it's self-perpetuating too, right? Because then you do, even if you go in thinking, well, we don't really buy into this. This is the chatter about us. But then you do stuff and then you start to let a few goals in and then you go, oh, maybe this is, oh God, is that, and that creeping thought comes in. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know why I believed Freo for that first half in particular that they were going to win it. To the point where I texted, not again, I'm such an asshole. I texted Geelong fans like, how you going? You
Are
feeling all right?
you? You're one of those, are you?
Well, not normally, but I just loved it so much that I
Yeah.
wanted. And the Geelong supporters that I know are insufferable. Like I mean, we clearly live and die by our teams, but they really live and die. Like you can't speak to them if they lose. They're genuinely depressed. So
Yeah.
I was like, it was part annoying, part like genuinely, are you okay? And then, yeah, I got all the never in doubt texts back and like, you idiot, of course we were going to win that. I was just like, it's probably me actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, I probably mozzed Freo. So
It
I'm so
must be
sorry.
amazing to barrack for a team where you, like Hawthorn or a Geelong or even a Collingwood to an extent, where you're just like, oh yeah, like it's okay, we're down in the last quarter, but we'll probably win this. Like I've never had that feeling. I've
No.
never like we can be leading by 5 goals halfway through the last quarter. I'm like, how are we gonna botch this? Like I think the
Yes.
Frio's loss was epitomized by Patrick Voss's early goal celebration. Did you see that? Sort of when the game was in the balance and he kicked what looked to be an amazing goal from the boundary line about 40 meters out. And then started celebrating, and they called the point, and Brian Myers very helpfully
Oh,
came up and let him know that he kicked it behind. But it's sort of
that was,
that to me seemed to sum up Frio's day, because they got pumped there last year at GMHBA, but Murphy Reed announced himself, and then I don't know. I tipped them. I had an odd feeling that they were going to the first if the Siren had gone at halftime, that's the game I was expecting. I just felt that
Mm.
Freo were going to come out and do a number on the Cats, but the longer that they go on, the more chance you give Chris Scott to weave his magic and grind Myers with those dinky little goal
Ugh.
assist passes that he's so great at. Like, I mean,
Why are they
Shannon
so
Neal
good?
looked like Wayne Carey by the end of the game. It's like, how is that
I love
possible?
Shannon now. I think he's so good. Like, uh, Geelong are just baffling to me. In a way, actually, like Hawthorn, that they regenerate so quickly, that they retain talent, that they have belief that they can do things and win and come from behind. Like, that I do. Even when they fall off the perch, they don't fall very far. Um,
Mm.
and again, I do think that comes down to like like really boring stuff, like system, really good leadership, steady hand organizationally. And that stuff actually does matter. And for
And state
Freo,
government handouts, annual state government handouts to build an extra 2,000 seats on your already
yeah.
well-built stadium.
Oh yeah, and those sponsors that are kind of just under the rug, like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we might
Here's a
just
car
supply.
dealership. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All that. It all works for them clearly. I think Freo, yeah, I don't know what it's like over there for them. Like maybe they need the sting of losing a bit more like you would if you were a Melbourne club. Because, just to feel a little bit more like don't drop these games, the
Hang on.
pylon.
Are you seriously suggesting that Freo need
I
to
don't know.
know what losing's like a bit more? Like, that
I say,
is,
I say that.
what are you talking about? Like, that's
I
like
know
saying,
your
I think
face.
Charlie Brown needs to miss kicking that football that Lucy's holding just a few more times to really understand.
Don't know. I feel like maybe they're so far away from everything that they're just like, all right, well, we dropped a game, but the first half was good. Like maybe they just need a little bit
I
more
get what
heat.
I like Freo. I get what you're saying. Like Freo's a cool suburb. Like it's a good place to live. Like, WA is a great state. So it would be easy to be insulated from like, they don't have the kind of like neuroses of like like a North Melbourne or a Melbourne or a St Kilda club, right? Where we're
Yeah.
like, oh God, which is this like minnow and like everything's so stressful. Like they fly back to one of the most beautiful
Yeah.
places on earth and, go down to the Scarborough Hotel for like beers on a Sunday. In fact, you make me want to move to WA, Rana. Are you talking me
Me
around?
too. Yeah. I think it's like what Gold Coast needed, right? Like Damien Hardwick talks about that too. Like they're a good side. They just need to actually
Grow up.
almost take it a bit more. Yeah, grow up. And look, it's probably not the number one thing they need to do. Like, I wouldn't be going for me in to suggest stuff. That's not number one. But I do think there's something in that. Having said that, Melbourne have been in Melbourne for a long time and couldn't give a shit for a long time. So,
How do you
who
feel
knows?
on Melbourne, them moving to Waverley? You found that like I
Mm,
had no idea that the operations were so like disconnected from one another. Like the corporate section was in one area, the training facilities
yeah.
another area. That's got to be the fact that you won a premiership with that setup is insane.
Well, I think the reality is we won that premiership in COVID when none of that mattered. Like they were just in a bubble together. And so that was the organization.
Mm.
Um, but I don't think that works. Yeah, outside of a COVID situation, and we've seen it doesn't work. Um, I think the best thing for this club, is for them all to be together. I don't know that that's happening though, even though they're going to Waverley.
Mm.
Um, but as much as that can happen as possible is good, and I don't know, like as long as they make it work. Like I feel like Stephen King is a very pragmatic man, so he'll, whatever you toss at him, he'll make it work, and I'm happy with that. And as long as they keep the culture, and the problem for them has been like above the shoulders for a long time, and similarly to Fremantle, that they drop games and they start to let in a few goals, and then they drop their heads and they go, all right, well that's done,
Mm.
and they don't dig deep. So to me, it's sort of like stick them wherever. They've got to build that first, and it looks like they are, and I feel like King is bringing that. Like I love him already. I think
Yeah.
after 1 week.
It seems like the kind of like the dependable kind of father figure leader that you need at a club. like that. Like you sort of asked about Ross, how I feel about Ross, and
Mm,
I get, yeah, like he speaks like a drunk uncle sometimes. Like you just really have to pass through what he's saying. But I do get a sense of like I joke with the Saints chat that like Dad's talking now. Like he does have a way of making me feel better after a loss because he never seemed overwhelmed or freaking out.
yeah.
Like he always has a way of kind of filtering it through this kind of, oh, whatever. Like there's some good things and some bad things, and we'll just get to work. And so I think that gets you only so far. And then after a while, it's like, because Alan Richardson was like that at St Kilda for about 3 years. And we're
Mm.
like, does this guy, is he ever going to, like, is it all just going to be making us feel better? Like, well, can the team start making us feel better? Stop consoling us
Yeah.
and actually deliver some wins.
I know. I don't get that vibe from Ross Lyon, but admittedly he's not my coach. So
Mm.
maybe I just get like, oh, that's that guy's dad and I didn't like him.
Yeah, it's the uncle who gave the speech of the 21st. It just goes on a bit too
Yeah,
long
yeah.
and no one knows what he's talking
Yeah.
about at the end.
My favorite version of that though is Chris Fagan.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but yeah, he's
He's
adorable. He's so cuddly.
adorable. But like, how does he fire them up? Like, is he ever, or is it all granddad chats where it's like, I really believe in you and you're the most special thing that's ever happened to this family? Like, is that his
Oh, well, I think
style?
but that works in reverse, right? Like, isn't it like, yeah, he does have the kindly old granddad thing, but when you disappoint someone who's pure
Mm.
and like it was
Mm-hmm.
a granddad, like it almost, they don't need to raise their voice because you've shot
Yeah.
Bambi, like I think that is a good motivator.
Oh yeah. Imagine disappointing Chris Fagan.
Yeah, you'd feel
Yeah, that's
terrible.
brutal.
You'd feel so bad about it. That yeah, I wonder if maybe one of his assistants is the like good cop, bad cop. Like you'd imagine that
Mm.
someone because I imagine when Fags was at Hawthorn that Alistair Clarkson was the bad cop and
Yes.
Fags had been the good cop. So I wonder if that's what they've done up there. But also, you look at that Brisbane list, and it's like, can they coach themselves? I mean, they are so talented. Like maybe they don't really need the stick. The carrot is enough for them.
Talented, but losing at the moment. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
it's not a worry,
not a
right?
worry. They didn't win the first 5 games. Well, they won 1 out of 6 last year, was it,
Oh
to
yeah,
start the
yeah, yeah,
season?
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not worried about them. Although we should talk about that game because the Swans look like they're back in a big way. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've been following my journey on this podcast, Rana, over the last couple of years, but I, uh, having lived in Sydney for better part of a decade and been a big fan of the Swans and the no dickhead policy of Paul Roos and John Longmire, found myself just going sour on the Swans, and it had a lot to do with their fans because what I started to recognize was, oh, there is a whole generation of Swans fans who have come up without knowing the struggle of what happened in the 90s when, they were getting
Mm.
8,000 people to the game and Ron Barassi being sent up there to shore it up and the Rodney Eade era. They just know success. And there was and there was a sense of entitlement around Swans fans. So I had a great year last year watching the Swans just like struggle and injuries but it's been short-lived because they look absolutely
Mm.
terrifying. I mean, I know they've got some injury concerns. It looks like I just checked AFL.com before I jumped on. So Errol Goulden, they're saying at a minimum 4 weeks. They're hoping it'll, that's the baseline. It might be longer. Isaac Heaney, a couple of weeks with a hamstring, but what they've done, the SCG, remember the SCG last year was just kind of like lots of teams are winning there,
Yeah.
like heaps of teams are winning, but it doesn't look like that anymore. And when you've got a team that plays, like when you've got your explosive, midfield of Heaney, Goulden, Warner, and these forwards like Joel Amarty's coming of age. I mean, Charlie Kerner didn't even kick a goal yesterday, but is that presence? That ground looks tiny. Like it looks like a
Mm.
suburban football game where you've got a bunch of like giants running around just dominating.
Yeah.
Like Brisbane and no pushovers clearly, but they just looked all at sea. And so I think that it's going to, even without Gould and potentially Heaney in the short term, I think beating the Swans at the SCG this year is going to be real, real tough.
Yeah, and you need that as an interstate team, right? You need that home ground that's really going to be scary and
Yeah. And filled with the
ma-
biggest wankers in the States you've ever met.
yeah, they just basically what you're saying is they became Hawthorn supporters. That's
Well,
all
no,
that
what I
happened.
believe Swans fans epitomise Sydney, which is Sydney. They are the
Mm,
city of Sydney, which is they love a winner, very flashy. As Broden stated on his podcast and this podcast, best looking fan base in Australia, well to do. It's a great ground. Like it's
it's
going to
so
the
true.
SCG to watch a Twilight game is awesome because it's you're walking distance from all these great pubs and restaurants and stuff, and the ground itself
Yeah.
is beautiful. They serve sushi there. Like amazing. But the fan base there, like and look, I'm not saying that they don't understand the game. They're dyed in the wool Aussie rules fans now. The game's been there long enough for them to get it. But it is just more that it's the Geelong thing. It's that expectation of winning.
Mm,
Like
mm.
I've watched St Kilda get humiliated at the SCG so many times over the past 10 years and just had these Swans fans patronize me. And I'm just like,
Oh
I don't
God.
like it. I don't like the way you're talking to me. I don't like being there, but I do
But
admire the
man, you're
team.
hot.
Yeah, but you are so hot.
By the way, Sydney did do like a speed dating or dating networking event last year. I remember seeing it
For their
on
fans.
for their fans, yeah.
Yeah,
And
right.
I, as a happily married woman, was like, that actually wouldn't be so bad.
Well, at
They're
least you got something
you
in
like,
common, right? Like you got something
yeah,
to talk
yeah.
about. I mean, I have like blood relatives. The only thing we can talk about is St Kilda. So I imagine like it'd be a real leg up in the dating game.
I know in GWS are like, let's go get a halal snack pack. Fans.
I mean, the funny
Um,
thing about Charlie not kicking a goal in that game on Friday, or was it Thursday? No, when was it? Saturday. I don't. Saturday was that's almost kind of if you want to know if Carlton fans want to know why Charlie wanted out of Carlton, there's your
yeah.
answer. He didn't kick a goal, and no one gives a shit. Like it's
Yes,
fine.
exactly. Yeah.
It's fine. That was in Melbourne, if that was at the MCG and had been Carlton, like he would have been getting messages on Instagram,
Yeah.
talk back would have blown up.
Yeah.
He's just made the smartest decision ever getting to Sydney.
So happy. Like even Brody Grundy, like
Yeah.
he would be loving it there. He seems like he's loving it there. It just I don't know. Like I think that's the case. Like Joe Danaher
Yeah.
moving as well. Like it's just that's I mean, I did just make the case that Freo need a bit more heat. But we are to argue against myself. Like we are awful to AFL players here when they don't perform for us. And Sydney, I was really interested in what would happen to them without Tom Harley. Um, I know that, again, that's an administrative thing. How much does it really affect clubs? I think it does. He'd been the CEO for a while um, and was doing a very good job, but there was just some organizational scars. Like some of those like grand final losses were genuinely traumatizing in terms of like what can happen at a football club. And so I think they really like the fresh start is actually what they needed. A bit more kind of changeover, not just on list, but also internally, for them to actually just go, nah, let's just draw a line in the sand and restart. Not, it's not a rebuild. It's just like let's turn this on and off again, like switch your
Yeah.
computer off and then restart and let's go again. And I feel
As
like
you'd
that's
be
what we're
well
going to
aware
see.
of, considering you're doing this whole podcast on your phone because your laptop wouldn't work.
Lost all dignity. Yeah, I'm a very professional woman. But even still, the best of us can grumble.
Finally, let's look at the Hawthorn Essendon game. Hawks, who I think most of us were hoping losing to GWS was a sign of things to come, but clearly not. Flexed their muscles, looked very good. The Zach Merritt is obviously the big talking
Ugh.
point. You just mentioned before, like we treat players so badly in Melbourne. Look, he clearly I maintain Zach Merritt's biggest mistake was not going to the club first before he had that lunch with Sam Mitchell. I feel like if he had been
Mm,
upfront about it, a bit more like Charlie Curnow, but it felt very underhanded, just having a dinner without clearing it with the club first. I think supporters would have understood, but now
Yeah.
he's just in this weird sort of no man's land where he was still their best player. Kicks that goal, gets a big reaction and stuff, but like, is he try again? Well, what happens at the end of this
Mm.
year?
He asked for an open relationship and got told no, and now he's still in the
Yeah.
relationship. That is
He wouldn't, no,
what's
he didn't just
happening.
ask for an open relationship. He brought the other girl home and
Yeah.
introduced him to his wife and said, "What do you reckon?"
Yes. Yes. And so now it's very, very awkward for all of them. But they're committed. They're staying in it for now.
Yeah.
Like we talk about long suffering fans. I truly don't know what you do as an Essendon supporter at this point.
No.
Because I don't, there's just nothing to hold on to. Like, you also, is that too harsh? I don't know. I feel like,
Well, Jared Waitley, I think, made an interesting point on the weekend where he said it's the list build is quite odd when you look
mm,
at a lot of the players they brought in, say 5 or 6 years ago. A lot of them have moved on. Then there was like a generation of draftees that just haven't come on. Um,
yeah,
and now they're sort of in this position of like, well, this is almost a full rebuild, but they don't really have the draft capital to start there. Like they're almost behind West Coast in a weird way. Like they're a better team than
yeah,
West Coast currently, but in terms of where they want to go in the rebuild, they're behind them, which is a frightening thought. Because I don't know if Runner you were like this, but my feeling when they came out of the whole supplement saga, 10 years ago or so, was like, oh, they've really landed on their feet. They've been through that horrible
yeah,
time through the club, but they seem to be recruiting well. They've got a couple of big name players in front of the club, like Dylan Shield and a few other players in. And I feel like maybe we were all blinded by that and we didn't see the rot that was at the heart of the club, which I feel
yeah,
is kind of still there when you've still got to this day, in the year of our Lord 2026, Kevin Sheedy saying they should have got James Hird back. Like, what are
yeah,
we doing? Like, we need an
yeah,
exorcist. We need to get the sage
yeah,
down to the hanger, wave it around, just clear it all out to start again.
yeah. Because what you saw in that game was that Zach Merritt's still good. Like, that's all I
Yeah.
got out of that game. Um, and I don't know, like, footy clubs feed off their lore and their history and their culture, but that is decimated there. Like, like, if they're still, like you said, if they're still talking about James Hird and looking to 2000, like, you just can't. You've got nothing there. So you actually, I almost want them to say, like, can we just have a year off and we'll get our shit together and then we'll go again. Like, bring Tassie in, let Essendon have a year off and like just reorganize, because I
That'd be great.
genuinely honestly feel for them, and they just need a gap year and then they'll be right.
Can I have a gap year? Can we just have a year with the Saints, have a year off, and I can just like find something else to do with my life, my winters? That would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys will be fine. I honestly think it's not terrible.
No, it's not
That
terrible.
came
It's
out of
just
my mouth.
it's in context of the amount of press and hype we got over summer and the optimism we
Yeah.
were feeling. Like you summed it up perfectly. It's the hype and the hope that kills you. The hype hope
Yeah.
kills you and
Yeah.
killed us.
Yeah.
I just want to sorry, go on.
No, you go.
No, I was gonna say we got a letter here that I think is great for you. It's from a Dees fan. We're fascinated on this show with nicknames, how players get nicknames, because it always seems to be like 6 degrees of separation thing, where you got to jump through
Yeah.
4 or 5 hoops to arrive at the
Yeah.
nickname. So this is from Billy. He says, Dad and I have been hard at work on some new nicknames for these D's players. I hope they don't fall flat. So, all right. Coach Stephen King. This is not a hard one. It's a
Mm,
2-step process to arrive at his
okay.
nickname. So what do you reckon we go to from Stephen King to where? I'll
Well,
go to the obvious one.
I immediately go to It, the
Ah,
movie or the
you're
book.
so in the ballpark. Okay. All right. So
Okay.
Billy goes Stephen
Pennywise?
King, the writer Stephen King, and then he lists a book title, Cujo.
Of course. Of course.
It is.
I actually,
Yeah.
I think Melbourne's new fan engagement should be that we all hold up red helium balloons in the stands, because all I hear is it. Or we can play Stand By Me as our Never Tear Us Apart.
That's
That
good.
would work too.
That's good.
I think we lean in is the point.
All right.
Cujo, all right.
Latrell Pickett.
Oh no. How obscure are we going?
Not that obscure. Relates directly to his cousin.
Okay.
Yeah. And then a mountain.
See, I just went.
Is that too confusing?
That's really confused me. Give it to me. I go picket fence, but
Latrell Pickett, second Cozzy, K2.
Oh, right. Nah.
I mean, it undermines Latrell's independence a little bit.
Yeah, I don't like that. Don't accept
this is just a one step. There's no middle step to this one. Harry Sharp.
Okay.
A sound you might make if you were to sit on something sharp.
Ouch.
Ouch.
Oh, ow. Oh,
Ouch.
no.
Ouch.
No,
You got it the first time. And this is probably the least imaginative. I think there's a few headline writers have come up with this one. Jack Steele.
I mean, how much
Superhero theme.
Oh, Man of Steel, Superman.
Close.
Are
Clark.
we getting there?
You're going to call him Clark. Yeah.
Clark.
Clark.
Oh, I hate these. These are not good, Billy.
Well, you're not going to like
so
this
sorry.
because Billy says there'll be more to come. So I don't know if that's a promise or a threat.
Billy, send them. Because I need more.
Yeah,
because those were good.
I will forward them. And just one last thing I wanted to share with you. We did have some technical difficulties getting on for this show, but I don't want you to feel too bad because last night I decided to tune into the Footy Furnace to see what James Hird and Jimmy Bartell had to say. And this is what greeted me when I logged in. That's right. Just James Hird and Jimmy Bartell on their phones waiting for the floor manager to say, guys, we're rolling up, we're on.
Stop.
And then it just cuts out.
How long did that go for?
I kept checking in about at least 10 minutes, but I didn't know if it was. I think what had happened is the show had been recorded and then they were meant to upload it to YouTube because that's what I was on YouTube watching it.
Okay.
And the editor had clearly forgot to trim off the bit at the start where the two hosts are not talking to each other and glued to their phones.
Yeah, I wish I could say that's not how that happens, but that is what's happening. You're always just on your phone.
Of
But
course.
surely you're having a chat. You're having a chat.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be doing a lot of talking once the cameras go on, so it makes sense. You're just checking your phone. Rana, thank you so much. What a great inclusion to the Two Guys One Cup lineup. Do you have anything you need to promote? Anything you need to let people know about?
Look, I think it's probably fair at this point to reassure people that I am a good person, and that I don't harbor too many ill feelings towards anyone. No, you just the follows on the Instagram. If
Yeah.
I couldn't sound more old, I'm at Rana Hussain. But also, like, I'm going to say this in earnest. I love a DM, so don't be afraid to reach out, say hello.
If you've been offended or delighted by anything Rana has said, message her. There'll be a link in the show notes below. Rana, we normally sign off with a phrase that we have affection for related to Aussie rules. Mine is play on, not 15. Do you have one?
Oh, I have so many, but the first one that just came to mind was stand, because my partner and I have taken to yelling that at our daughter. We need her to just stop doing something. It's just stand.
Right. Well, that makes us 2 from 2. Adam Spencer chose the same one last week as well. So clearly the AFL are having an impact.
Yeah. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you, Rana.
Thanks, Charlie.
here to 40 loving dickheads, dreaming about a Premiership Cup. We love our clubs, but they never win. 2 flags in 100 years. That shit house. If you think we'll be insightful, clever, or just well researched, we're here to say that's not the case. We'll just go out and wing it. We are 2 guys, 1 cup.